You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I broke my knee, man! I broke my knee, man! I broke my knee, man! I broke my knee, dude!
All right, here we go. What was that? What's going on there, Jared?
Well, you might recognize that voice from the show tonight. It was comedian Bobby Kelly. This was when he was on... Dane Cook had that special on HBO back in 2006. This song might get a little dirty, so we might want to fade out.
Oh, man. I think it's still viral. I think it still has some viral potential there.
I really want to make Bobby Kelly aware of this, that we introed it tonight. Maybe I'll tweet at him. But he was on, what was that called? The big Dane Cook tour back in 06. It was a bunch of comedians. They were playing a pickup football game in some town. And of course, they were all too old to be doing it. And he literally broke his knee. And so someone made a rap song. It was from the Opie and Anthony show, now Opie and Jim Norton show. But it was a great rap song of him screaming in pain.
Wow. But you learn something new every day. But I will say, it was refreshing. We're changing up the game instead of the Louie, Louie, Louie. Yeah, this is a nice change up right here.
This is,
we're keeping it fresh.
Thank you for segueing into the actual intro. Might want to mention that this is AfterBuzz TV for Louie. You could follow us on Twitter. You can download the show on iTunes and SoundCloud. If you want to get at us on Twitter, it's hashtag ABTV Louie. I'm Jared Gilkerson. That's at Gilkerson Radio on Twitter. And I'm with Monis Rose.
Monis Rose, what's going on? And I'm at Rest Fiction. Check out the website, Restaurant Fiction. That's what it stands for. I think all of you Louie fans, FX fans, just fans of movies, TV, and film would love what you see and read on that.
Nice. Let's jump right into this episode. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of comedy. Most people are that watch this show. And of course, the opening scene is with Bobby Kelly. I'm familiar with a lot of his work. He's a funny guy, funny comic. This year, he's playing Louie's brother.
What did he then play last season? Because last season it was just him, Bobby and Louie, and they just stuffed their faces silly at a diner and then an Indian restaurant or something.
I think they were actually just supposed to be peers. I think it was actually just supposed to be Bobby Kelly, like a couple of comedians, and they're out and just being fat. And this year, it was the opening scene of Bobby calling Louie while he's on the couch, saying that Uncle Jack, how are you getting to Uncle Jack's wake? And Louie was like, what do you mean, Uncle Jack, what happened to him? And Bobby says he's dead, which is the best way to find out about your uncle being dead, is a surprise. And then you're going to a wake in 2 hours. That's pretty fun. Have you ever had an experience where you didn't know a relative or a friend was dead until the day of the wake? No,
and being, and it was their uncle. I mean, that really says to me, that must have been some kind of important uncle to them when neither of them really knew. I mean, Louie obviously found out from his brother, and then the brother found out by reading the obituaries. We didn't even know. I mean, honestly, we don't know what paper he was reading from. If it was the New York Times, that would have been an actual awesome obituary, because the New York Times does do very well done obituaries, by the way. But
shout out.
I'm just saying, what I really loved about this scene, this standalone scene, is when Louie takes the phone call. He actually, in a way, there's, I guess, phone courtesy where even if you have your pants off, he politely put his pants back on. Like he said to his brother, hold on.
Yeah.
And he puts the pants back on as if there was Skype. No, as if you could tell. No, do you take a phone call with your pants off?
Well, plenty, yeah. But that's a good point that you mentioned that, because whenever it was almost like it was such a chore to actually answer a call, because I mean everyone's texting and I mean I admit it is a lot easier to text. We were just talking before we went live that you enjoy a phone call over anything else.
Oh yeah.
Myself, I'm kind of half and half. But it is almost a chore when your phone rings. You're almost like, why is this ringing? Like there should just be words on this, and I should be reading messages. So I love his disgust of like I have to talk to somebody.
But at least he's being polite. He's putting on his pants.
He's putting the pants
He did
on.
not button them all the way. He did not put his belt on yet. But at least I think that was he was showing signs of courtesy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess maybe when people call me, I should.
Put your pants on.
Yeah, put my pants on.
Just take your call like a man.
Yeah, speaking of taking it like a man.
Well, yeah, that's a little teaser to the end. So he picks his brother up, and they go to head to the wake. And when they get there, there's a whole plethora of Vietnamese people at the wake, and it's pretty much we don't know if their uncle's dead. They're at some Vietnamese guy's wake. And they still decide to greet and mourn with the family for a bit.
Which I think that is the wise thing to do in that situation, because obviously they have both shot themselves in the foot at that. It's like, okay, instead of just arguing, they could have just said, okay, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. And went into this brother fight. And instead, no, it's like, okay, we don't know where our real uncle's funeral is. We're here. Same name. People are mourning. Let's at least do the same thing.
Well, I thought because as we find out from the next scene, they obviously were at the wake for a little bit of time because they got back and it's dark. So they get back outside of Bobby's apartment, and Bobby asks him, "Hey, you've never seen my apartment? Come up. You're my brother." And he says, "It's one of my favorite quotes from the show tonight. Don't be an asshole. Come up." And like I love how it's just. I mean, we've probably all been in that situation where people want you to see the new house or, hey, come see my apartment. Like, I get it. Like, it reminds me of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode a long time ago where Larry doesn't want to take the house tour. He's like, I get it. There's beams and, like, oh, where'd you get those beams from? Like, what are you going to say? That's why I think it was all a ploy. Like, Bobby knew that it wasn't there. He just saw his uncle's name in the obit. And just like, oh, I'll call Louie up. This will be an excuse for us to hang out and do something.
Which he did have. He did have little nuanced things in his apartment, as we got to see.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah. I guess he had the timers on all his lighting.
Like a jacuzzi hot tub, kind of like when you go to a jacuzzi and with the bubbles, and then that always makes me mad. That right when I get in jacuzzi, the bubbles turn off, and then I always have to get out of the jacuzzi and turn the bubbles back on.
Do you own a jacuzzi?
No, but this is at the gym.
Oh,
yeah,
the gym jacuzzi.
Oh, the gym jacuzzi.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Are you a sauna guy as well?
I like to do sauna, steam, jacuzzi, and then go to the Korean spas. By the way, have you been to Korean spas?
I've not been. I've been to some massage parlors, but we'll leave it at that. I mean,
let's leave it at that.
Spas, massage parlors are all pretty much in that same realm.
Yeah, but We Spa usually has Groupons. I recommend We Spa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
We're not promoting anything here. Come on.
No, absolutely. But he has this timer. And
the timer's on the lighting. So they sit down. There's some confusion on who's the older brother and who's the younger brother. Basically, it's Bobby setting Louie up, saying, "You're successful. I can't believe you're doing what you love and you're making money and you're supporting yourself." He says, "You have a beautiful wife. A divorce." And then he goes on to say, "I have no skills, no Twitter, and sperm that doesn't work." All setting Louie up for. This is just setting up a family member asking you for money.
Almost. I also thought it was almost a spitting mirror image in a way of last week's episode with Louie and Michael Rappaport just breaking down, and of how his, Michael Rappaport's life is, oh, poor me, and look at you, your life is awesome. I mean, this is another situation of these two guys, similar ages, both New Yorkers, salt of the earth type of men, and they're comparing, or one is comparing themselves, and it really shows, at least maybe the lesson to don't compare yourself. I mean, Louie in any episode in this series has never compared himself to somebody else. I mean, he just lives his life. And yes, he does make a point, though, that he still has problems and he's had to work for where he's at. I mean, you know, Louis was never handed a golden spoon, a golden ticket.
I haven't either. A gold nor a silver spoon.
A golden or silver?
Either one.
Oh, really?
No, I've never even seen one.
See,
I've seen silver spoons.
For me, I get my PhD from the streets.
Oh, okay.
That's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's I have nowhere to go with that.
Awesome. No, but I mean, did you feel there was a similar connection?
Yeah. I think this whole season you might see. I think this season is going to conclude with him realizing that his life is good, and he's hanging out with his brother and his friends or past friends, or people his sister has dated, and he's going to realize like, oh, my life really isn't that bad, because he always seems depressed. Can't get the girl, divorced, but he sees all these other people in his life that their lives are really bad. Like just awful, and then they're always saying, "Hey, I look up to you." So I think he'll realize, like, "Oh yeah, my life's not crap, like not total crap." I think it's I'm hoping there's more episodes where people are just wanting to use him.
I think that's right on there.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
Well, let's hit the next scene on the head.
Oh, speaking of hit, yes,
this is a good. This is a great scene. I mean, I say that almost every time we start a new topic. But Louis at the bus stop. Well, what do we call it? Bus stop beating?
Mm-hmm. He sure takes a beating.
Yeah, there was a woman hitting a man at the bus stop. So Louis tells her, hey, calm down, stop. I'm not sure if any of us would do that. I probably would just let it happen. I would just let that situation be. But
would you be quiet? Yeah, you would just be quiet. Would you?
Yeah, I would if it was the other way around, I would probably say like, I'd probably have to intervene if some guy was beating on some woman. But if it's almost like if you see, and it's almost kind of leading into the rhetoric of the show, you can't get beat up by a woman. That's kind of what we're leading into. He gets his butt kicked.
Before we even get there,
yeah.
So yeah, we're not obligated to say something if we see. I mean, as men, because that's also another point. As men, we're not obligated to see if we see a woman throw a few punches at this. I mean, a stranger woman throw a few punches at a stranger dude. Whereas you're saying, yeah, that's.
In today's society,
there's a double that's a double standard.
Yeah.
This whole episode, this whole scene was a big double standard. That's a huge double standard.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like she wasn't really hitting him that hard. If there was a knockdown, drag out fight, I would probably intervene. But what she was doing seemed pretty harmless. So of course Louis had to say something and chime in, and it was just awful. And he really got his ass kicked on the sidewalk.
But he was doing, I thought, the right thing. I mean, he was just being a good Samaritan. Yeah. And yes, this woman with a tramp stamp, wearing her jogger pants, I mean, very fit, very, attractive woman, not going to lie, but also tough, gets right in his face and just starts leveling him, shoves him into the fence, and then starts kicking him down on the ground, no mercy.
Yeah, and he can't throw back. You can't. I mean, you can't. You can't, in quotes. You cannot throw back.
But why? In that situation, I feel Louis. I'm not saying, but
completely justified. In that
situation. Is justified. Yeah. It is justified. Even if, I mean, obviously, I'm sure at least the Louis character in the show is portrayed as he probably does not know how to fight, but at least I'm sure he could throw a punch if possible. This was a perfect situation for him to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman is not just she is berating him physically. I mean, and we're seeing, and it's in the cold. Like, we really get to feel that it's in the yucky snow ice. He even picks up a piece of dirty ice to...
I think it was a rock.
Oh, it was a rock?
I think because, the rock would be very cold and it would probably feel good on your face.
Yeah.
I think it was a rock.
But we feel that winter, with his gloves. I mean, we just feel how miserable...
Yeah, it looks awful.
He looks awful.
Yeah. And nothing worse than getting beaten by a crazy woman on a cold winter's day. The name of my first album, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great
It's
title.
dropping in August.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the single?
I'm not going to disclose that information yet.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we can discuss the single after the show.
Awesome. All right, please. Yeah, we're going to bookend it with your shout-outs.
So we're going to bookend this beating with his daughters. he comes home and his daughters see his face looking terrible. So they ask, what happened? He starts telling the story. I got beat up by someone. They were crazy. They keep asking because he keeps saying they. And he goes, no, well, you two are girls, so I'm just going to tell you. I got beat up by a woman. And it's kind of funny because they both have the reaction. They're both girls, and they still have the reaction that you can't get beat up by a girl.
The irony, because yes, even women think it's funny when a woman beats up on a guy.
At least when you hear the story.
When you hear the story, that the woman, and you were saying when we were, because we watch this show together, and we do our commentary while we watch it.
We chit chat.
We chit chat a little bit, try to form a chemistry. But anyway, you were saying that, I mean, Louis told his daughters, and even then told Pamela, but daughters, and they made fun of him. Yeah. Whereas you said something very eloquent, that if Louis just told another guy, they would just be
like, that's BS, man. Like, I can't believe that happened. Like,
right? Did
you hit her back? And it's like, no. But I mean, there'd probably be he would definitely get some crap from his friends, obviously. But it seems like more often than not, the people who shouldn't be laughing at it
are the women, and I feel Louis, many of times he's promoting strong women. He has a lot of strong women on his show. He is promoting, feminism, and in a way, this is like he's showing that this is like a setback in this way. This is another double standard that, first of all, why is that not okay for a woman to beat up a man? That it's laughable. That's what it's saying, and then even women think that it's even more laughable.
It's a really weird mix because, especially in today's society, you cannot, I look at it as a woman can throw 50 punches and a man can't throw one back. It's a kind of a weird way to look at it, but it's a weird position because people will laugh at you for getting beat up. But if you're in a fight with a woman, you're automatically going to get beat up because you cannot throw back. So you're always going to get laughed at, but you shouldn't be getting. It's a weird thing.
But it's also self-defense.
But it's perfect for the story because it leads into Pamela.
Yes.
He tells Pamela, and as we all know, Pamela is kind of off again, on again girlfriend with the show, who I love. I love her character. So she sees him and laughs just like his daughters, and sees an opening. And we'll kind of get into it more, but she's always been, I guess we are getting into it more. I keep saying that. It's like saying at the end of the day. I hate people who say at the end of the day.
It's okay. I'm following you. Yeah. We're in the rabbit hole. Yeah. Go on, Jared. I'm listening.
So she decides he has a set. So he needs her makeup, to go, because he can't go on stage with a beaten
Studio
face.
Fix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she gets into it. She sees this moment of like, oh my God. So she says, I'll drain your balls like raisins.
Whoa.
If I can dress you up and do you if you're wearing makeup. And he's reluctant, and he finally says, okay, I'll do it. So she finally gets the kind of the ultimate culmination, because for lack of a better term, whatever, she's always been the dude in this relationship, can't commit, just wants to be kind of F buddies, just wants to hang out. How'd you look at that?
Yes, absolutely. Shows no emotion. I mean, she even has the raspy Bobby Hill, obviously she is the voice, but the Bobby Hill, King of the Hill voice. I mean, she always has like this tomboy-esque, doesn't really exude, feminism, a very, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, she has that, yeah.
So obviously they had this whole scene where she puts her hair back and puts a hat on and kind of just acts like the guy. So she says she's Pete. He says that he's
Jonatha?
It doesn't even matter anymore. No. Jonatha.
It's Danish.
Jonatha.
It's
but
Danish.
Then he gets into it. So he gets into the scene and starts acting very feminine, but he's got mascara, he's got the whole deal.
And it's like a legit date. I mean, she asks him for a dance, and then she says, hey, let's get it on, or I want to make love to you.
They had the great scene as soon as they start getting intimate on the bed. They have that great scene of like him with the makeup and all you can see is her back and his face, but like that oh my god moment, like oh my god, this man is he's
And
ravaging me,
yeah,
and it's like that very feminine thing, and I love that scene because that's what every movie scene is, you know, when there's like an aggressive love scene with a woman, and it was funny.
And he's not, and it's not intimate at all. It's not sexy. I mean, she's grabbing Louie's man boobs.
Oh, yeah.
She's just kissing him just to kiss, not really emotionless kisses all over.
Yeah. And so it ends with her getting behind him. And so we're not sure what happens if she has some kind of object or her hands.
But Louie is in pain. Louie is in pain.
Yes, you know, and that's expected. If he wasn't in pain, then I don't know how the story would have been a little different. But yeah, so they come back after the break, and they're in bed, and they're having that typical after sex conversation. You know, Louie always bringing up, "Hey, we just had a real intimate moment. What does this mean for our relationship?" And she's just sitting there, not interested, in saying, "I think we should break up." You know, Louie's always looking for some kind of label. So it's a great role reversal scene where he's sitting there emotional in makeup, and she's just saying, she's always telling him, "Dude, I don't want to, I want to be this," and he will not listen to her. So in a way, what's typically always been male and female in our society, they've role reversed it, which I love because it's like, why does it always have to be that way? So I love how the woman is finally just like, no. Like, no. I love how they switched it.
And Louie cries.
Yeah.
And his mascara runs.
That's a great scene. Like,
it is.
And she just laughs at him.
Yeah.
He basically gets laughed at the entire episode.
Pamela pretty much portrayed the Jersey Shore douche in a way, or the douchey guy.
I loved it.
That was, well, absolutely. I feel there needs to be more women like Pamela out there.
I do love her character because I think there are more women like that in the real world, and Louis is like, yeah, it's not always a guy.
I feel the same way.
Feeling like that. It's like there's plenty of relationships where the guy wants more and the girl's like, no. So why can't we show that on TV? So he does.
Absolutely. You're right, yes.
But he did get laughed at the whole episode because we come back and right before the credits, it's him and Bobby out to dinner or whatever. Bobby's eating fries and a banana.
Bananas and fries. I don't understand that one. Potassium and fried frozen potatoes. I mean,
oh wow, we do have a live crowd.
All right.
I guess our engineer he loves fries and bananas.
I guess so.
AFTERBUZZ TV exclusive.
This is an exclusive. This is the first time that bananas and fries have been mentioned in the same sentence. But it was a great scene. And you could see Louis almost losing it in the scene. It's just Bobby laughing at him for about 30 seconds straight while eating fries, as I'm swatting at flies, eating fries and just laughing at Louis because, of course, he told him everything that's happened to him. Dress up like a woman, and I got sexually taken advantage of, and I got dumped, and I got beat up by a woman all in the same, day.
So, hey, he boosted up his brother's spirits.
Yeah.
And it now feels good.
That was a great scene.
Yes.
So have any of these, before we wrap up, we kind of already went over what we think is going to happen. I mean, I kind of said what I think the series or the season is going to encompass with him realizing his life is good. You think there's going to be, I guess this can be predictions. Let's just roll the music because it's a fun thing to do.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Whoa.
Predictions.
Awesome.
What do you think? Anything that's coming? Or
We know I like how this season is more though standalone as well. I mean, it's going back to the first couple of seasons of the show, whereas maybe last season was a lot more serialized. I like how he's bringing in more comedians, getting more absurd, but also I feel this whole series, because this whole series is very therapy based. It's very analytical, much more so than the last two seasons we have watched. And but I completely agree that he's going to be realizing, because he loves to have people shit on him.
Yeah.
And excuse my French, but yes.
Well, they say it in the show.
Exactly. And he's going to realize he needs to build himself up, and there's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel for Louis.
I agree. I'm just looking forward to more comedians. I always love when they have, Bobby Kelly and Jim Norton and a lot of these New York comics on that I listen to so much, and I just love how he kind of gives them an avenue to show their comedic genius, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
So I love it.
This is awesome.
So Monis, I love the two-man show today.
This was awesome.
Where can everyone find you on? I know you're a huge social media guy.
Yeah, absolutely. On Twitter, you can find me at RestFiction. That stands for restaurantfiction.com. Also on iTunes, just look up Restaurant Fiction.
At Gilkerson Radio on Twitter. That's all, and we are out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.